If you're on a spiritual path, never make this mistake. The number one mistake people make on a spiritual path comes down to ignoring your body and your lower chakras. I already made part 1 of this video where I talked about why so many spiritual gurus get cancer. If you haven't watched it already, I recommend you watch that first and then come back to this video. Alright, if you have watched that video, now is the time to dive into how to integrate your higher consciousness into your day-to-day living. And for that, I'm gonna again pull out a quote from Cole, which is coming from the Law of One again, and it goes like this. It is very common in those who have awakened and have tasted the nectar of unconditional love for them to strive to spend all of their time in the harmonious reaches of the upper chakras of the energy body. The heart chakra of unconditional love, the throat chakra of communication and compassion, and the indigo chakra of the brow with its work in consciousness and faith. These are wonderful climbs, and indeed a portion of you may spend all of its time in those heavenly realms. However, the key to living a balanced life is the constant rooting of those higher energies in the earth, and the constant uplifting of all lower energies by bringing them into the open heart. Therefore, we would suggest that it is unwise to remain ever in the higher work, but rather it is well to balance all working in consciousness by moving into the lower chakras by praising and giving respect and honor to the most seemingly base or menial of energies. Praise and bless those grounded and necessary energies of sexuality, politeness, responsibility, and all those things that would seem to drag you down. Know and find the way to discover ever more clearly that there is no part of life that is not sacred. So one of the biggest things that is taught on a spiritual path is that once you realize yourself, your true self, and that everything else is like an illusion, then you start to ignore this illusion and then you stop living a life. That is why there's a famous quote, before enlightenment, chop wood carry water, and after enlightenment, chop wood carry water. It's the same thing, which is that you want to ground those higher energies into the earth, which is your body. And your body consists of lower chakras. This is your sense of self. This is your relationships. This is your sexuality. This is your responsibilities and the way you interact with the world and other people and yourself. So if you ignore all of these things, then you're completely disregarding one of the biggest purposes of this life, which is to live and to serve and to create. These are the things we are here for. So what they're suggesting is that yes, you do connect, you do meditate, you do whatever you need to practice to connect with these energies, and then you bring it back into your body, into your lower chakras, so that everything that you do becomes a flavor of this sacred doing, sacred being, sacred relating. And then you bring everything from below, like whatever you deal with in life, whatever your traumas are, whatever you heal, whatever you release, whatever you go through, whatever you learn in your day-to-day life, you bring it back into love, into your heart. That is the basic work. We're meeting at the heart. The higher energy centers meet at the heart. The lower energy centers meet at the heart. Heart is the meeting point. It is the beginning and the end. And the reason I say that is because you bring everything from below to heart. So that is kind of like the beginning of your spiritual journey. And you also end at the heart by bringing everything that you get from higher realms into the heart. And then you ground it into the earth. So that's why heart is the bridge. It is the beginning. It is the end. And don't see anything as unholy or unsacred. Everything is sacred. Yes, you can be more divine as you step into your true nature and bring everything down to earth from that. Then yes, you become more divine. But nevertheless, nothing is not sacred. You can actually be a normal human being and not be a spiritual guru, and that would be even more actually spiritual than just being a spiritual guru and always being in the higher realms. For me, a human who is living a normal life is more courageous than a spiritual guru who is just hanging out in higher realms. So therefore, I suggest, yes, you do aim for higher energies. You do aspire to know yourself. You do learn from these teachers. But at the same time, you grow as a person. You live an epic life. You serve others. You create something beautiful. And then you're living an integrated spiritual life, which is not just some concept of spirituality, and it's also not an asleep, unconscious life. It's a perfect balance between the spiritual realm and the physical realm. You bring it together, down to earth, and then you live a very conscious, beautiful life, a magical one, in fact. And then everywhere you go, whatever you do, you are being a human and you are serving the world just by your beingness. And you don't have to be a guru for that. You can just be yourself for that. Alright, so this was the part 2. I'm going to continue to make more videos like this to break down more concepts, especially from the Law of One, because it's the best material that I've found. And you can also get a session about energy centers. I've made a chakra assessment quiz that you can find in the description, where you will go through some questionnaires and then I will tell you what blockages you have, and then you get a session from me. So if you like that, you can just click the link in the description. And other than that, make sure you subscribe because there's lots of things coming up next. See you next time.